What if your squad wasn't just fighting to win, but to survive a nightmare? What if every step you took could wake something in the dark? These aren't your typical battle royales. These are horror-infused survival games where the stakes are higher, the enemies are monstrous, and trust can be deadly. Let's dive into 10 terrifying PUBG-style horror games that will test your nerves, your aim, and your sanity. Number 1. The Outlast Trials. The Outlast Trials blends intense horror with cooperative gameplay, dropping up to 4 players into deranged psychological experiments during the Cold War. Players must navigate through disturbing environments, complete objectives, and avoid or disable terrifying enemies, all while managing fear and limited tools. Unlike typical combat games, this one emphasizes stealth, timing, and communication to survive brutal trials. What sets it apart is the overwhelming sense of vulnerability. There are no guns or real combat advantages. Instead, players use night vision, tranquilizers, and teamwork to escape. Like PUBG, you're constantly under threat, not just from enemies but from environmental hazards and panic-inducing stimuli. It's a terrifying mix of survival strategy and psychological warfare. Number 2. Hunt Showdown. Hunt Showdown is a competitive first-person shooter that merges PvE and PvP with gritty horror elements. Set in the late 1800s, players act as bounty hunters, tracking monstrous bosses like giant spiders or demonic hounds in swamplands. Once a boss is killed, teams must extract the bounty while others try to steal it, making every match a tense, strategic encounter. The horror kicks in through the haunting sound design and grotesque creature design, as well as the constant paranoia of other players closing in. Like PUBG, it's high stakes. Death means losing your character, weapons, and gear. The mix of stealth, gunplay, and supernatural fear makes Hunt Showdown a unique and nerve-wracking take on competitive survival. Number 3. Fear the Wolves. Developed by XSTLCar. Devs, Fear the Wolves is a battle royale game set in a radioactive version of Chernobyl. Players fight to be the last one standing while facing dynamic weather changes, mutated creatures, and deadly radiation zones. The game adds an eerie post-apocalyptic twist to the familiar BR format. The horror lies in environmental dread. Wolves roam in packs and can ambush players unexpectedly. Radiation storms force relocation, and supplies are scarce. Tension builds as both the living and the non-living are constant threats. With its haunting atmosphere and survival-first mechanics, it's a horror-tinted PUBG with more layers of unpredictability. Number 4. Resident Evil Reverse. Resident Evil Reverse is a third-person multiplayer shooter that throws iconic characters like Jill Valentine and Leon Kennedy into death matches. What makes it horror is the twist. When players die, they respawn as bioweapons. Classic Resident Evil monsters like Nemesis or Tyrant and can continue wreaking havoc on others. Although matches are short and arcade-like, the constant shifting between human and monster roles keeps players on edge. Much like PUBG, positioning, quick decisions, and combat skill determine who survives. While it's more action than horror at times, the grotesque enemy designs and chaotic gameplay keep things spooky and unpredictable. Number 5. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This asymmetrical horror game pits 3 killers, including Leatherface, against 4 survivors trying to escape a grim rural property. Inspired by the original 1974 film, it prioritizes brutal tension over jump scares, placing survivors in a maze of rooms, crawl spaces, and locked doors. Each survivor has unique traits, and teamwork is essential, just like coordinating in a PUBG squad. The horror is grounded in raw violence and oppressive atmosphere, with killers working together to corner victims. The game doesn't rely on traditional firearms, but rather on stealth, misdirection, and psychological dread, making it feel like a PvP horror nightmare. Number 6. Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is the gold standard for asymmetrical horror. One killer hunts 4 survivors who must repair generators to escape. Each killer is based on horror archetypes, or licensed icons like Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger, and survivors must use stealth, teamwork, and quick thinking to survive. While not a BR in structure, The tension, teamwork, and unpredictability feel similar to PUBG matches. It's a constant balance between helping your teammates and saving yourself. The horror comes from the sheer helplessness survivors feel when chased, and the thrill of barely escaping turns every match into a heart-pounding experience. Number 7. DayZ. DayZ is a hardcore open-world survival game set in a post-apocalyptic land, crawling with zombies and desperate players. There's no story, just survival. Players scavenge for food, weapons, and medicine while battling illness, starvation, and unpredictable human enemies. The horror in DayZ is ambient and emergent. Unlike PUBG's fast matches, DayZ focuses on long-term survival with tension building over hours. You might team up with someone for hours only to be betrayed. The fear isn't just the zombies, it's the silence, the trust issues, and the knowledge that death means starting over with nothing. Number 8. Vampire the Masquerade. Bloodhunt. Bloodhunt throws supernatural horror into the Battle Royale format. You play as a vampire from different clans, each with unique powers like teleportation, invisibility, or summoning bats. Set in a gothic, plague-ridden Prague, the vertical map design and horror aesthetics make it visually distinct. Despite the fantasy theme, there's a lot of PUBG DNA dropping in, looting, surviving, and outplaying others. The horror elements come through in blood rituals, eerie sound design, and grotesque vampire animations. It's a fast-paced, stylish shooter that blends horror and battle royale in an elegant, deadly way. Number 9. Scavengers. Note: shut down in 2022, but worth mentioning. Scavengers combine survival shooter mechanics with PvP chaos. Teams dropped into a frozen wasteland to gather resources, complete objectives, and escape, while fighting both monstrous AI and rival squads. It emphasized cold isolation and desperation. The horror was mostly atmospheric: freakish mutated wildlife, unpredictable storms, and eerie silence between gunfights. Despite its shutdown, it introduced creative ideas for mixing battle royale tension with survival horror elements, and its influence still echoes in other genre hybrids. Number 10. GTFO. GTFO is a brutal co-op horror shooter where players are sent deep into an underground complex filled with monstrous, bioengineered nightmares. It's four-player focused, requiring tight communication, stealth, and perfect execution under pressure. Enemies react to sound and light, and one mistake can wipe the entire team. Think PUBG squad-based play, but without guns blazing, every bullet counts, and silence is survival. The horror is oppressive, constant, and unrelenting, with visuals and sound design that keep you in a state of dread from start to finish. Which of these horror battle royales gave you the biggest chill? Let me know which one you're ready to jump into or too scared to try in the comments. If you liked this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more intense game breakdowns, and hit the bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp and stay alive.